of you remember the 1983 World Cup? Put your hand. Almost all of you. How many of you have heard anything about 1975 World Cup? Those days it was called the Prudential Cup. How many of you watched 2011 World Cup? Remember that stone-faced sixer of the last ball? So, put yourself in that position. How will it feel to be on the top of the world? Yeah? How will it feel? Say, Vichy Anand, Gary Castro, West Indies under Clive Lloyd, Australia, India under Kapil Dev, India under Dhoni, Sri Lanka under Arjuna Ranatunga, Pakistan under Imran Khan. Remember? You think they wouldn't have failed? Yes or no? But still they made it, right? Didn't they? How do you like to hear somebody from somebody who actually has reached the top of the world about how it feels to fail and then go to the destiny of succeeding? How would you like to hear about that? Would you like to hear? Sir, can I have you? The World Cup winning team's member of Sri Lanka, Mr. Roshan Mahanama.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Natarajan.
How come this good morning is louder?
Dr. Natarajan, thank you so much for inviting me. You have put me in a spot. I must mention that I'm here purely on parental duties, but Dr. Natarajan was able to track me down just before I left to find out when I'm going to be in Manipal again. When I got that WhatsApp message, I'm not high-tech, but I generally use WhatsApp to communicate with my family when I go overseas. I said there is a strong possibility that I will be in Manipal over the weekend. And my aim was to catch up with Dr. Natarajan just to exchange pleasantries. But he was able to rope me into coming this morning to share my experiences. For me, I come from a very humble background. I'm not ashamed to say, and I never forget where I came from. I stand on my own feet because of the beautiful game of cricket. When people don't make an effort to look after the sport, it hurts, and I feel bad about it. Early days in my career, I don't know whether I mentioned this when I visited your campus last time. It was not easy for me. Not in terms of playing the game. I think I was a little bit fortunate where my parents were able to give me a bat when they realized that I've got the potential to play the game. I was one of the youngest to represent my school team. For us in Sri Lanka, we produce all our cricketers from the schools. I was about 14 plus when I was selected to play for my school under 19 team. Sadly, my first game for the school, people were mourning the fact that I was playing for the under-19 team. They felt I was not good enough. They felt that I was there because of my father, who was an old boy of that school. They felt that I was in the team because my brother, who played cricket, was also in the team. And everyone, not everyone, but some of the students had white flags flying over the school ground to say that they were mourning the fact that I was selected to play for my school under-19 team. That season, that was the only under-19, or the only game that I played for the school under-19 team. I could go to school for about 8 to 9 months. There were issues at home where my mother and father were fighting. My mother's people used to come from the best school, or the best, it's known as the best school in the country, whereas mine is a singular Buddhist school where we were the third generation. And my father said he's not going to leave the school. He needs to go through these challenges. He needs to face these problems. These are lifelong experiences. So I couldn't go to school, but I always wanted to play the game. I ended up going to one of the clubs, started playing by accident. I became one of the youngest players to play first-class cricket for that club. Never stopped me. That really hardened me. Looking at me, even to date, people tells me you need to be strong. For me, I don't think you need to be strong outwardly. You need to be strong inside. There have been challenges which never stopped me from trying to achieve what I want to achieve. Then, when I had to captain the Sri Lanka team briefly, there were challenges. I can remember we had a very strong leader, Dr. Natarajan. We were discussing about Arjuna Ranatunga, who was my captain for most parts of my career. There were some issues, and Arjuna came up to me and said, "Roshan, I don't want you to go on this tour." I told her, I call him Arjuna Ayya, that's elder brother. I said, "Arjuna, if it's your personal decision, I can't agree. Whether it's right or wrong, if you're taking a decision as a team, I will agree." And he said, "No, I'm telling you, you should not go on the tour." And he walked off. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow his advice or his instructions, because I thought country comes first, personal issues will be there, they need to sort out themselves. I captained the side to Sharjah for a triangular. That was the first time ever that a cricket team left the shores of Sri Lanka, not from our cricket board, but from a 5-star hotel. For security reasons, they had to get us to leave from a different place. Yes, that happened in 1994. The team spirit was not the same after we got back from that particular trip. Some of the seniors, the so-called seniors, I was also one of the seniors, but half of the seniors felt that some of us had vested interest. And for about a year, it was more or less a team-building exercise. Yes, at the right time, we got a coach whose roots were from Sri Lanka, who played for Australia, Dev Watmore. Since Dev took over, he knew that we were talented. We were one of the most experienced teams at the time, but he had to work on areas where he felt that we were not exposed or we were not given an opportunity. So his early days were not about trying to teach us to play the game, but he got people to come and speak to us to see how best Dev can get the best out of the players that he had. In a short span, little Sri Lanka was able to make a name in world cricket by winning the 1996 World Cup. For me, I can proudly say during our time, though we were experienced enough, from day one of the start of that tournament until the day of that finals, we were underdogs. We were happy to have that tag. I remember playing India at Eden Gardens. Sometimes I relate this story, maybe for you guys as well, because India had beaten Pakistan previously in the World Cup quarterfinals. So when we went to Kolkata, people were distributing sweets. I was told that that's the way they celebrate a special occasion or occasions of that nature. We joined the party, obviously, as sort of youngsters, or we were relatively young. We loved sweets, so we were enjoying the sweets. Going into the grounds a couple of days after, there would have been about 80,000 inside the grounds and about another 70,000 outside the grounds. We were shocked. We were wondering, what are we going to do in front of a crowd like that? I think that will be the game where there were most amount of people to witness a game of cricket, because they say at Eden Gardens the capacity is 110,000, but there would have been about 120,000, including the police people and their family members. For us, it was a big occasion, but again, we were not overawed by the occasion, but we got stuck into what we had to do. Unfortunately, we ended up on the right side. Going to Lahore, again, people were distributing sweets. We were wondering what's happening here. You go to Kolkata, they distribute sweets. You go to, come to Pakistan, they distribute sweets. Yes, they were celebrating the fact that we beat India. And we were happy, we were given sweets, and we enjoyed another treat by them. Again, it was quite challenging, because we had to play against the Aussies. And I remember Dr. Radarajan just a short while ago mentioned the Pakistan great Imran Khan's name. Imran and all the past greats had said that whoever who wins the toss should bat, and based on history, it's a team batting first who had won a World Cup up to then. With Dev and some of us, Arjuna, some of us, the senior players, we just saw we need to go with what we have done so far in the tournament. We need to go with our strength, which was batting at the time. And throughout the tournament, we were successful batting second. And we thought we should not change our mindset, our mentality, and we stuck to what we have done or what we did up to that point in that tournament. and I think we proved history wrong by winning a World Cup for the first time chasing. I'm not talking about myself, I'm trying to show what you youngsters need to do. You need to look into your strengths. You need to, I won't say areas of weakness, I say areas of concern. Every human being has a talent. You need to nurture that talent. You need to identify that talent and work hard towards achieving your goal. Even with the job that I'm doing now, I work for the International Cricket Council as a match referee. I do have challenges. And about 6 to 8 months ago, I remember talking to my father, who's my mentor, who's my go-to person. It's important that in life you have someone as your mentor whom you can trust, whom you can depend on, whom you can fall back to, where you can open out. You need to open out in terms or in times of when you need some assistance. I went and told Father, I still feel that when it comes to appreciating what we do, people look at the color. And people will be treated differently at different forums. And he said, son, don't even think of that. It will never go off. This thing about the color, the superiority of certain people will always be there. If you're going to focus on that, he said, you're diverting attention on something that you can't control. He said, son, you do what you know best. You do that to the best of your ability, and when you turn back, and if you know that you have given off your best, he said, so be it. You cannot change it. So I'm a firm believer in life that you need to control what you can control. And also as a parent, I briefly touched on this with Dr. Natarajan last night. Parents generally in my country try to live their dreams through their kids. I feel it's important that as parents, mainly we let the kids live their dreams. You guys are here to do what you have selected, what you feel that what you need to do for your future. Work towards that. Work hard. There's no substitute for work hard, commitment, and dedication. But if you feel at some point that that's not the line, once you have given a good shot, don't be afraid. Every person is talented in something. What's important is to find out where your talent is. Don't look for shortcuts. I always say I put money at number 5. Honesty, integrity, commitment, values, money. If you put money forward, you forget where you want to go, forget what you want to achieve, and your attention will be on not on what you are doing, will be on things which you shouldn't be doing. I played in an era where there was match fixing, and match fixing was at its best. But I can keep my head up and say that I did not fall into the trap. Yes, playing during our times, we were not getting paid lavishly like some other cricketers nowadays. Yes, they should get paid for what they put in. I'm happy for that. But for us, It was mainly the love of the sport and the satisfaction that we got for playing for our country. So we were not, at least personally for me, I was not going to fall into the trap of earning a quick buck. That again is the upbringing. That again is the values instilled by my parents. And even to date, if I want to earn a quick buck, I'm in the forefront. Toss is one of them. We monitor, we supervise. You can give information on that. But you cannot, once you go back to the room, you will not be able to sleep. When Dr. Natarajan came to pick me a short while ago, I fell asleep because I have no problems. When I keep my head down, I can sleep. I need to keep the alarm to get up. I was slightly late, sorry about it, but I think we made here on time to make sure that we were not keeping you, ladies and gentlemen, waiting. So I need to finally tell all of you that it's a start for you all. There's always a beginning. But work hard. Don't look for shortcuts. And have a target and go for it and try to control what you can control. I wish all of you continued success.
Roshan, please accept a token of our affection with a memento, please. Please. I hope you won't have any trouble with the customs department. Thank you very much. Can you take a few questions? Would you like to ask for, say, just about 5 minutes before that we'll start the event.
Sir, can you please give a brief about your record-breaking partnership which you had with Mr. Sanat Jayasuriya? How you can do the same thing continuously again and again? That how you keep that concentration level going for the same job you do like in test matches?
He wants to forget that.
I think it's a clear indication that you're a hard-earned fan of the game of cricket because, yes, correct, it's Sanat's birthday today. For me personally, it was not about breaking records. It was going through the process, going through what we had to do for the team. Again, if I look back, India obviously had a very, very, very strong team. I feel that they had a team which was stronger than the current team. India got something like 530, 540 batting for almost 2 days. And for me, it was a crucial test match. I never realized that it was a crucial test match because before the start of the test match, my childhood friend Aravind De Silva came up to me and said, I want you to get a 50. And I just thought, you can't go into bat saying that you want to get a 50. You need to accumulate runs, you need to stick to your basics and work towards building up an innings. And I said, Aravind, you're putting pressure on me. Why is that? Tell me. He said, that's all I want you to do. And then I knew there was something going on, which Aravind didn't want to tell me because he was a vice captain at the time. We lost Marwan Atapattu, last ball of, it became the last ball of day 2, and I was happy that I didn't have to go into bat. And our aim as a team was to avoid follow-on, which was about 340. And personally for me, yes, working towards that, as well as what Aravind told me was sort of ringing, sparking from the subconscious mind. And I think up to about 50, I struggled. After 50, I just kept going. I just thought I'll make use of the opportunity. And it's very easy when you bat with someone like Sanat Jayasuriya because you'll be watching most of the time. He'll be hitting. And And Sanat and myself, we go back a long way. So I had related what Aravind told me to Sanat as well. So he would have known that he needs to anyway take more of the strike, protect me up to an extent. And we just kept going. And I think by the end of day 4, we had got something like 600, over 600 runs. We went past India's total, and we realized as a team that the pitch was too placid, and there's no point. You would normally declare if you can bowl the other side out and win a game. And we realized with the Indian batting lineup, with Sachin, Saurav, Rahul, Azharuddin, Sidhu, you name it, we're not going to bowl them out again. Even in the first innings, we didn't bowl them out. So we thought best option for us is to keep batting. And to date, it turns out to be the highest test score. And I remember we had got out by that time. Tea time, day 5, the Indians came up to us and said, if you guys want to get 1,000, get it. That's not our problem. But make sure, because the rule at the time was you can, if both the captains agree, you can call off the match half an hour before. So don't keep us out in the sun any longer. Get the 1,000 or not, let's finish the game half an hour before close of play. So that's when...
Excuse me, sir. So how do you handle the pressure and the expectations?
Pressure will be there. If you don't have pressure, even in the job that I'm doing now, if you don't have the feeling of butterflies in your stomach, because I feel that I'm talking about the job that I'm doing now. I'm in a AC room, comfortable. Whatever we do, people don't see at that particular moment. But the only way you can handle pressure is if you are prepared, if you know your strengths, if you know that you're able to face the challenges. And for me, especially with the job and even as a player, I realized that there are 2 kinds of players. One who's got natural talent, they've got the born talent. We were talking about it yesterday as well, getting them to come and coach will not be the best. Others need to work hard. Others need to be committed. And even with the job, people say that's when we discuss sort of areas where we have done well is our strengths. Our strengths, and for me it's preparation. And when Dr. Natarajan called me yesterday, I'm supposed to go to Zimbabwe in a couple of days. India plays Zimbabwe. I'll be the match referee for that series. I thought that series was going to be off, so I had switched off. And suddenly on Sunday, I got a call to say that the tour was on. So I just thought, if I'm not prepared, then I can't face the challenges. I can't face the pressures, because even with the jobs that we do, there is a side that spectators, people would not see. We set the tone for a series. We tell the skippers, we'll tell the players what we expect from them. We tell them about the playing conditions. We tell them about the laws. And now it's a crucial time for us, because there are some changes that are coming into the playing conditions effective 5th of August. So I need to prepare myself, have it ready, and then pass it on to the teams when I go to Zimbabwe. So pressures will be there. I think if you are prepared, if you are ready for it, then obviously you will be able to handle pressure and you will be able to fulfill the expectations. If someone's going through a bad patch in life, which could happen, you should not focus on, in cricketing terms, if you're going through a bad patch, if you're not making runs, you should not be focusing on what you have done in the past. I have not got runs. You have to stay in that moment. As players, we've been told that you need to always think of the next ball, and you've got this subconscious mind where if you put negatives, it'll always spark. So even during tough times, you should always, going into a big occasion, I'm talking about matches and so on, we remind ourselves and we tell people to look at the positives. I can afford to tell you this as well. My childhood, again, a friend of mine from the same school who umpired the last World Cup finals, Kumar Dharmasena, he tells me what he watches going into a important game, important series. He'll be doing the Ashes starting next month. Day before the game, they do prepare themselves a lot. Gone are the days umpires turn up and umpire and then go off, but they do prepare, and he'll make sure the night before and on the day of the game, if he has time, like a day-nighter, he'll always look at the positives, the good decisions that he made, because what'll stick in your subconscious mind, and if you have a doubt, that's what'll spark.